Proficient Auto Logistics acquires Brothers Auto Transport, expanding fleet capacity by 13%. This is the 7th company to join PAL. What does it mean in OEM auto logistics? How does the Jack Cooper shutdown factor in? What do the company drivers and previous owners think? What are the investigations about? How do the tariffs factor in? Please say hello in the live chat, share your thoughts, grow your network, and learn from the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to Industry Logistics on ATI Auto Business, where some people learn more about the automotive industry. Why do I say that? Well, it's a tough world. Thanks, Bunker Bootmate, for saying hello, lurking in the background. That's awesome. All right, let's do this. Please do help me wish a warm welcome to my super co-host. Super co-host?
Sure, I'll be super co-host.
Yeah, that's dope.
Hey.
The first ever super co-host.
Cool.
All right, cool. So we got some big news today. The news, I had a different concept of the show. This one's way better because it's actual information. Proficient Auto Logistics. I know everybody, well, several people want to know what this means, what's going on here. What is Proficient Auto Logistics? Why does this matter? It's they're listed on the NASDAQ, the stock's going up, and there are other questions. But it's okay. Proficient Auto Logistics acquires Brothers Auto Transport, founded in 1996. I've talked with folks at Brothers, great company. OEM partnerships, this is a good get. For PAL, this is a good one. Brothers Auto Transport has built a well-run, profitable business with deep-rooted OEM relationships. The big question is, will it stay that way? I'm not trying to be some negative Nelly. The Brothers acquisition increases PAL's fleet capacity by 13%. I'm impressed by the metrics, as I'm sure the shareholders are. Maybe it's required. Dear Proficient Auto Logistics team, we're thrilled. And Brothers will add roughly 80 trucks, company drivers, expanded reach, market leadership, operational excellence, etc., bringing our total capacity to more than 900 auto carriers. This was posted on LinkedIn. Now follow along. All right? This is going to get fun. There will be a quiz afterwards. How many auto carriers does Proficient have? Okay? Are you studying?
Yeah.
Okay. How many auto carriers are in this post?
It says 900.
900.
Right.
All right. Oh, I got my bell. Okay. I brought the bell back, by the way. Why not? Okay.
Sure.
All right. Now, previously, about Proficient Auto Logistics, when they formed their IPO, how many trucks are listed in this screenshot? Whatever.
1,200.
1,200.
900, 1,200.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This was posted, I guess, recently. Yeah, like yesterday. And this was posted, I don't know when, months ago.
Yeah, May 2024.
All right. And in this job summary, the number of trucks listed is?
1,200 again?
1,200 again. Okay. Now, on this fall investor presentation, the number of trucks is listed as?
1,050 plus, so we're already over that if we count what we just added. So
we were at 900 the other
1,200.
day.
Yeah.
But 1,200 months ago.
Oh, we're not adding them, is what you're saying. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the number. That's the game we're playing. How many trucks does PAL have? I don't actually know.
Well, apparently over 1,050.
Well, here's an email. I don't know. This was near when they look. This you can tell it's near when they formed because it says hey, everybody, after 20 years of service, we're merging to become a public company, and we're going to have how many trucks?
1,100 there.
Okay.
Well, that's about right then.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so the companies are. That's the other quiz. What are the companies? What are the 7 companies? You've got Delta, Deluxe, Sierra, Proficient, Tribeca. Number 6 was Auto Transport Group. Number 7 is Brothers Auto Transport. Okay?
Okay.
Allegedly. If you watch this show, who knows? Okay. Oh, and there it is. Auto Transport Group. Oh, I was right. Well, even a clock gets right twice a day. What do they say? Broken clocks?
Uh,
Yeah.
Not one I haven't heard.
You haven't?
They say broken?
They say even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true.
That's me.
Twice a day.
Okay. Except for me, it's like once. Okay, so there was this thing in October. See, this as shareholders between Gucci purses. Let's go with Gucci purses. Gucci purses and stock prices. That's it's a consumable day. So there was this October thing happened, and then as I've also reported on, then there's these, that was when they reported their metrics, and then there's these investigations. I'm not here to stick on this, but did you know that there's investigations into PAL?
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 investigations. And that's why we played the game, how many trucks do they have? Because just to recap, it's either 1,100, 1,050, 1,200, or with their 7th acquisition down to 900. Wouldn't your number of trucks go up?
Yeah, it would go up unless you lost somebody in that grouping of somewhere in there.
And so here's the thing. I'm not here to create an investigation, but this is all in light of, and then there's this damage stuff. We can talk about that too. Jack Cooper. And that's the perspective. Is what happened with Jack Cooper? Why did it happen? What does it mean? Where does that leave us? And what's next? What could happen next? There's a lot of reasons OEMs ship cars. You got new vehicle logistics, buyback, lemon vehicles, company cars. They need to go to auction, lease returns, repo. It's not just new. There's actually a lot. So there's a lot of work to do for OEMs. And that leads us into our, what we're going to do? All right, Joe, we're going to bring you in here, buddy. I'm going to go to the live chat. Looks like we have a few viewers. That's always exciting. Viewers welcome, by the way. Elena, hey, what's up, Elena? Moosey's here.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what are you guys doing here? How'd you get in here? Did you know this is a private show? Right? Like, most shows are, I call them private clubs. I call, there's just craziness going on. Let's keep going. Joe, go ahead and say hello whenever you get a chance. Feel free. Hey, did you hear that Acertus added Blue Star?
No, I hadn't heard that.
What's up with that?
I saw that.
Added corporate relocation and exotic vehicle transport. What's going on, Joe? How you doing?
Hey, how are you? Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
It's great to see you. It's great to have you here. We'll go right to the applause.
It's the only gratification I'm going to get today. So.
Oh. So do me a favor, Joe. Just say hello for me real quick, and then we'll kind of get into news or whatever.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Nice to see everyone online.
That was perfect. The perfect.
More applause.
And
ring the bell.
And bell. There's the bell.
There we go. He wants to use the bell. Let him do the bell.
I know. Well, I keep thinking of Peach Transport. He's like, you're ringing in my ears. So, Joe, what is the lowdown? I don't know. Word on the street.
I mean, I guess depends on what you're looking for.
Anything.
Although yesterday it was announced that Proficient completed purchase on Brothers, whatever that means. Whether it's I don't know if it was an ownership change or a controlling interest stock type thing or something like that. I mean, hard to say. Um, I guess at the core, Brothers was a very tight run company that had a territory that it was very, very good at servicing, had customers that they had been with for a long, long time. I think it was a smart move on Proficient's part. If they were able to secure that business and are able to retain it, then it fits well with a lot of the other traffic that Proficient has. So I think it's a pretty good get, if you ask me. I think you use that term. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I mean, Brothers is known as, right? If I think of like Auto Haulers Association and well, that's the main thing I think of when I think of Brothers, and then like Finished Vehicle Logistics. Brothers Auto Transport, great company, great guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I guess the question of why. Well, obviously I don't want to. I can only speculate. I don't want to. I can't speak for these people, but um, if you are in the precision side, the acquiring side, then you're probably thinking that there are opportunities to conserve cost or business that overlaps with what you have that creates some sort of synergy or savings. And I guess if you are the acquiree, then you're probably looking at what's the value of my company, and is that something that I'm willing to consider? Is this the right time? And I guess it worked out for all parties. However it got there, it seems like it worked out for all parties. And I don't know that I blame anybody for making that type of decision at this time. I mean, you take a look at the overall like consolidation, if you want to call it, of the OEM auto hauler businesses. If you are an owner right now, you're looking at $400,000 a copy for your equipment, and interest rates that are up. They say they may come down, but who knows? A lot of uncertainty in the market right now with all of the things that are happening in the marketplace. So, I can see why someone might say, I don't want to put up with this crap anymore, and I'm going to go and market what I've built and go from there. And um, so I can absolutely see the motivation on the selling side. On the purchasing side, however, all those same headwinds you're facing. It's not like the cost of trucks is less for this bunch of people than it is for that bunch of people. So I think that if you're on the purchasing side, you're probably looking at this from the standpoint of, do I have the depth of credit that I can manage the debt that I'm going to accumulate to be able to do this? Or maybe another way to look at it is it less expensive for me to acquire my way into a larger fleet than it is for me to just simply buy more fleet? And I think that's going to be the question to ask. The question we'll all be watching. And as I said, I can only speculate. I'm watching. I don't know the inner thinkings of what these people are saying, but that's kind of what the way I look at it. And by the way, Proficient's not the only company that has thought that way. eCar had a recent purchase that they made, and there have been several purchases in and around Interlink, and that Ritchie group and all that. So it's interesting to see right now as the industry sort of goes into this consolidation mode. See how this all shakes itself out.
And by the way, that it's almost no different in the dealership space. There is a lot of consolidation conversation in the dealer space. So, that's one of the ways I like to look at trends. That's why I look at the freight industry. You can see analogies and comparables between industries and verticals. So also it's going to be no secret. Somebody from Proficient's going to watch this.
Yeah.
And not for entertainment value, because there's none to be had, but really, for, hey, what are they saying? What are these guys doing? And essentially, it is still my belief that there is some car hauler news around. I actually think Automotive Logistics Media, the company out of England, does a great job at global logistics. But when it comes to domestic primary and secondary market news, it's spotty. And so this program is to represent what would be the only exclusive on the topic at this time. And so we are following along as well. Having said that, you mentioned Precision. Did you say Precision?
Proficient, eCar, and
Okay.
Interlink. I
That's
might
cool.
have said precision. There's too many P words in our business.
Well, and what the reason is that because I've got Jack Cooper sitting right, I guess right here on my shoulder, Jack Cooper, and then this would be Proficient.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah.
No, that was crazy, but yeah, but it's in my mind share thing.
So, I would not compare those two organizations. I don't know that yeah, they do the same thing. They deliver cars, but that doesn't, there's a lot of differences there. And
yeah, I don't mean to compare them, but they're in the market together, or were. There is some effect. No.
well, I think cause and effect. I mean, if you acquire business because of the other carriers outgoing, then yeah, there's a direct cause and effect, and that did happen, as far as I understand. What were the terms and the details of that? I don't know, but but obviously they are operating in places that Jack Cooper previously did. I think that once again, kind of I zoom out a little bit and look at this from the standpoint of who's so the manufacturers. They have a need. They have a service requirement that has to be done in order for them to support their manufacturing or their outbound rail or whatever it is. And so they're going to be looking for reliable partners. And there was a sudden change that took place, and they had to make some difficult decisions. And again, I don't want to get too deep into the what's and the whys of why one carrier went away and another one took over, but I mean, clearly there were reasons that were significant enough that would compel two of the larger domestic manufacturers to say this is a direction that we need to go.
So having said that, now because I'm gonna pause you there so that we never get too deep, right? We don't want to get too deep. We just keep moving through the snow patch. All right. So and that is that. I think you're right. Great time to sell.
Yeah.
Right. Great time to sell.
Yes, if you can manage the debt, it's a great time to buy.
Ah, I knew there was an if, and that's where I was leading you. If you can manage the debt, this is a great time to buy. I'm going to say that also with like a Certus buying Blue Star.
Mm-hmm.
There is this thing where you can either get new business or you can buy new business or some of both, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
By
Agreed.
acquiring brothers, you're acquiring business with money.
Mm-hmm.
To some degree.
That's a way to look at it, yes. Mm-hmm.
And that then brings us back to the if you can manage the debt.
Mm-hmm.
Because isn't the most expensive part of this owning the asset and maintaining the asset?
Undoubtedly.
Keeping the relationships happy and the drivers happy and the damage is down. What'd you say, $400,000 for a truck?
Yep, that's the going rate now.
Jeez. Okay, did you see how many trucks PAL may or may not have? Did you see that number? Any ideas there?
I don't. I mean,
yeah.
They
1,000 plus, give or take?
Probably
220, 221, whatever it takes.
These are fluid things too. I don't know how much of the business that they secured is under a longer versus a shorter contract. Those are all X factors. So it's easy to just sit there and say, well, this fleet was 100, so our fleet is now plus 100. And then when you start putting the synergies together, you realize, well, I no longer need 100 trucks to do this particular chunk of work because it already overlaps with business that I have. So instead of 100, I'm only going to need 70 or 50 or whatever number like that. So that's why that number fluctuates. It's not really necessarily because they have, 100 sets of license plates more. It's oftentimes because they're not going to make a purchase. Most companies are not going to make a purchase where they're not going to gain something in terms of an efficiency or some other thing. So what they gained with, for example, with a company on the East Coast might shore up a different piece of volume, so now they can be more efficient with the equipment that they have.
I mean, and that's logical. You're going to liquidate some things,
right? Every car haul company, I don't care who you are, you have a list of dogs, trucks that you're running because whatever reason, and if you could, you'd get rid of them. Those are the first ones to go, and so they'll pare those things down and then replace them with newer and better, things that don't cost as much to run.
Is there a marketplace for used car haulers? Like, where would you post that on Craigslist or what?
A great question. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace. Oh, you do see them on Facebook for what it's worth.
Yeah.
There's a market for it. Yes. I would say, once again, no one is going to show up to some owner's door and say, I want that one, and hand them a suitcase full of money. I know some of us would wish that could happen, but most likely it's not going to. It's all going to be about the financing and what a person's credit is going to be able to sustain, and so those kinds of things. And so I've seen some equipment go up for sale for auction at companies like Ritchie Brothers. They have a fairly robust marketplace for that. And truckpaper.com, you can find all kinds of information on there about equipment that's available and for sale. And it's those are good benchmarks to see where things are. I don't know about Craigslist, but those are the two resources that I see an awful lot of activity on.
We'll just keep you a few more minutes. Let's see here. Sue, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just listening.
Does the live chat have any questions? We got a hello Sue 925 is here. What's up, 925?
Hey guys.
If you do have a question, please do post it. We'll keep Joe for another 5 minutes and then we'll let him go. I can't help but think, okay, so I know there's somebody right now drinking from the fire hose. Like, what are these guys all talking about? How many, let's do a recap. How many OEMs in the U.S. that hire car haul companies?
Oh, how many are there? 13 or something, 18
okay.
Or something. Okay.
And do they tend to hire one car haul company or a portfolio of car?
No, it's a region thing. So these kinds of contracts are typically within a specific region, and those regions are often determined by railroad capacities or assembly plant locations, and then who's strong in one region or who has support in one region and that kind of thing. So it's almost every domestic or non-domestic manufacturer is going to have a portfolio of suppliers who, these guys are strong, in, let's just say, California, and that group is strong in, let's say, Florida. And so, you go where the capacity is best suited for your needs.
So in the risk board game of auto logistics, one could say that you are, based on what you just said, that criteria, you're identifying regions where you don't have a dude.
Yeah. Yes. And sales tend to be stronger in some areas for some manufacturers than others. Yeah. That's there's those trends. Some manufacturers lean into larger commercial vehicles, and some manufacturers lean more into the economy and those kinds of things. That niche and marketplace, they're always kind of elbowing their way up to in this mosh pit that we call the auto industry. And I think that the manufacturers, that over time, they've figured out who kind of services what areas, and who their stronger players are, and who they want to prefer to have in a particular area. And then the economics have a lot to do with it, the math of
right.
the cost savings and cost synergies and the resources allocations and those kinds of things.
That's it. I don't even know if I said Trump tariff today, but
No, you did.
There's the bell. Yeah. Does Trump tariff? Well, the answer has to be yes.
Of course it does.
Don't even finish that.
Absolutely.
So how is the follow-up?
Well, how many automobiles are manufactured outside of the United States that ultimately are sold in the United States? And I'm not going to name names, but mainly because I just don't think I can. But think about a manufacturer that doesn't have any assembly plants in the United States, but still sells automobiles in the United States right now. What are they thinking? What is their plan? Can they sustain a dealer network and franchise setup where 75 or 85 or 100% of the product that you sell is going to have to deal with a substantial tariff? And what is that going to do to domestic manufacturers that might sit there and say, well, wait a minute, I couldn't compete in this segment before because that was just not my core strength, or someone else was able to build it, and do a better job with the market, whatever number of things. Well, now a domestic might say, something, I wasn't able to compete before, but now I can. And so maybe it's time for me to invest in a different niche, a different slice of the pie, and see if there's something, if that's got some legs. So I think it's going to absolutely have an impact on things if they sustain. And that's a big if. If you look at what's happening in the marketplace right now, Wall Street not liking things. So we'll see what happens.
So, all right, I'm going to play devil's advocate, which is probably the right term, because I'm going to defend the folks that are like, hey, man, it's no pain, no gain, and we're going to have to destroy to build or whatever. Now, listen, I get it. And by the way, I just want to say, to be fair, I get it. I saw, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He said, this is a reset, a global trade reset. I was like, that's actually a pretty interesting idea. I can get that, right? Hong Kong, we get it. You get it for 100 years. We get it for 100 years, all that stuff. Reset. Interesting concept. But oh my gosh. Like I saw an article about how ports, this is going to mess up the ports, the ocean vessels coming in. If you look around, if it is a risk game, somebody just shook the board.
Well, how many jobs are going to be are tied to import and export right now? What's that percentage? What's that figure? I don't know what it is. Someone in Washington knows what it is. Probably someone else, probably more than one.
Yeah, and whoever has that data just got fired.
And they're all sitting there and thinking, hey, this is what's at risk. It's a hell of a gamble. And I think that so automobiles aside, just import export period. That's going to be it's going to be interesting to see. It's interesting to watch, and to play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate. If you have a house that's in pretty good working order, but the cabinets are starting to look a little bit dated and not doing what they're supposed to do. Do you tear down the whole house, or do you just fix the cabinets?
It's interesting you say, because the thing is, this global reset, it's never a good time.
Well, in using your global reset, your global reset analogy, Jay, we didn't tear down the house. We bombed the whole neighborhood and the state next door.
We just got through COVID. Nobody has any of that money left. That money's gone. I swear I thought we were just in a recession, and now we're in a global reset. One has to wonder, what's the next level of ratchet? How do we go to volume 11 on this thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't have an opinion. I really don't. I'm not really sure I'm qualified to put one together. Certainly not smart enough. But I will say that we are going to have a heck of a show to watch in the next 3 months, I would say.
So, if by chance, you saved your COVID money, you didn't get hit by the recession, you have your own chickens, so you didn't have to pay for eggs and all this good stuff. You're in a great position. If you're Mr. Wonderful, right? He's got money coming out of his ears. He's got Shark Tanks and Shark Tanks. If you're Mr. Wonderful, buy, right?
Yeah.
Which brings us back to Proficient. Maybe they've got like a Shark Tank and they're just going to buy. Maybe.
Arguably, if you're Mr. Wonderful, you don't care whether it's a recession or not, because you can sustain it. You don't care.
Right.
And I don't think that's the way that the people at these businesses that we're talking about, I don't think that's the way they're thinking at all.
Exactly. Well,
I think they're reading tea leaves, and they're trying to find ways to be able to sort of find their way through the marketplace. And in some cases, perhaps, I don't want to use the term manipulate. That would be against the law. But certainly if they can tilt the board to their advantage, they sure will.
Well, and this is it's interesting you say that. Exactly. I'm not going to say manipulate. Listen, if you're really good at the capitalism game, it's not the game of Risk, it's the game of capitalism. If you're really good at it, you just keep tilting the board your way. Or rather, the board tilts and you just find which way is the downhill and put your mouth up to the board. And there are companies in auto transport doing that. The thing is, I don't want to name names, but I see one company just mouthing up the board. And they're all over LinkedIn. They have completely transformed what people thought of them 5 years ago. And they're just a broker. Technically just a broker, but the smartest broker on the board. We'll see what happens in 5 years. In 5 years, they could be a public company. And so I think even companies like Assertis, which are more of a traditional, long-standing broker, or like a Montway. What's the news at Montway right now? I haven't heard anything. I have no idea. And so if, in fact, somebody at Montway right now just threw a pen across the room because they said, oh my God, that guy's right. What are we doing? And this is where, with this full reset, man, it is going to get weird.
Yeah, it is. And I think that, as usual, the customer is going to drive it. The consumer is going to say, I want to buy X, Y, and Z. And what did I say before about managing debt? Ultimately, just like no one shows up to buy a car carrier with a suitcase full of cash, no one shows up at an auto dealer with a duffel bag full of cash and says, I'll take that one.
Right. So at minimum, call your accountant, check your runway of cash. Right? How long can we burn if eggs go up again?
Yep. All about managing debt.
Joe, always a pleasure. That was an awesome segment, man. Thank you.
Nice
so
to
much.
hang out with you guys again.
Yeah, that was fun. Have a good one, Joe.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right,
You too.
see you, buddy.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right, cool. That was great. We'll go a little bit longer and then we'll cut it. I think we pretty much got the meat of the show right there. But this is a shot from Automotive News today. I wonder what the big news is.
It's true.
Tariff mania is what I wrote down. Have you seen the Trump tariff chart? This is what he's holding, like in the Rose Garden or whatever. It's 2 pages. They had to cut and paste. So you go into the companies, tariffs charged to the U.S., and then USA discounted reciprocal tariffs.
So is that what it's? The first one says that China charges us 67%. Is that what I'm reading it?
See, that's the thing. I guess. including country manipulation and trade barriers. I don't know who calculated that. It's probably a Doge thing. Have you seen the Doge calculator?
Oh.
No, me neither. But screenshot your screen. You're not seeing double. That's right. This is the Trump tariff chart. You can. I think you just Google Trump tariff chart. Maybe ask Chat GPT. Please, that'd be actually a good one. Hey, Chat GPT, can you explain the Trump tariff chart to me? For example, when China it says 67% and 34%, what does it mean? But as a global reset, I think what we're seeing is the interpretation. The layman's devil's advocate, Jesus advocate interpretation is, yeah, they were overcharging us, so we are now sliding the bill back across the table. And that's why America's going to be great again. We're sliding the bill back. So next time you go out to eat, slide the bill back and say, I am making, I don't know, never mind. That was dumb. Tariffs, what, where, and when. So here's how you understand it. Like,
There you go.
this is Tariffs for Dummies. Have you read that? You're reading it right now. 25% tariffs on vehicle imports, effective immediately. 25% tariffs on parts imports, effective May 3rd. By the way, if you work in customs, how in the world do you manage this information? Oh my God, I can't imagine that job. 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. You know the group that used to beat people up for violating Facebook terms of agreements? Yeah.
They're working for the
Customs.
department.
10% tariffs on all imports globally, higher reciprocal. The headline was, the tariffs are even higher than economists expected.
Really?
Yeah, and this where, I say, well, you voted for him. Hey, man, enjoy it. We're going to move on. Freight guard or extortion? I don't know. I thought it was weird. I didn't know what this was. I just know that, we haven't even mentioned fraud, right? Fraud's in the back seat. The FMCSA says like, oh God, thank God for the tariffs. We're not talking about fraud anymore. 88,000 trucking companies died last year, says this post.
So that means all, like, we're not talking about transport. We're talking probably
Right,
freight too.
Right, freight. But that number's going up.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the new pricing. Sue, take it away. You like the new pricing?
Oh, no, not really. Not at all.
Why not? What's wrong with it?
Well, it's jumped, and on top of it, now we've got to pay for, how do I put this? So we were paying like $139 for 30 listings. Now I think it's up to $199 for 50 listings. That wouldn't be so bad, except that now they're charging us per car listing. So if you list 10 cars, that's 10 of your 50. And it's not that I do that a lot because I'm more of a small broker, but if you put it into my perspective is, so usually when I do, like, we'll say a 10 pack, I don't make as much money, obviously, just as the same as the driver usually doesn't get as much money either. That's the way, the larger packs work. So I usually charge at least a $50 broker fee. On a 10 pack, I usually only get maybe $10 to $15. So my thought process on it, it's not worth it for me to even list a 10 pack because I'm losing money at that point when I could do a single unit for $50. And the next level jump up is $400 for 300 units, I believe is what it is. And there's no in between there. And I've talked to them about it because I don't think it's really fair as a small broker. And what's the percentage you think of small brokers out there? I'd say there's probably at least 85% are small brokers. And so I know they're in that window that I'm in, where I would rather have, like, if we have to pay more or something like that, we should have like 150 listings between the 300. Because I'm never going to hit that 300 mark. I wish I could hit that 300 mark, but I'm not going to hit that 300 mark. And I don't think it's fair to pay $400 jumping from $139 to $400 a month. That also kills me as far as expenses. That's more than double than what I was paying. So yeah, I have an issue with it, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other small brokers are probably not very happy either about the whole situation. And but if you don't speak about it and you don't talk to anybody about it, nobody's gonna know. So just keep that in mind. Call them, tell them what you think. Because the more people that say something, the more likely they are gonna do something about it. I'm just a peon.
Well, if you don't,
So,
hey, if you don't like the price of Starbucks, don't drink Starbucks.
yeah.
I
So
know, right? Like, this actually is to me, for my money, this is it's pointless to talk about. It's
yeah.
pointless. The
Yeah,
thing
because
is,
we
because
can't control anything. I mean,
no, well, we
it's
can't
like,
now, and it's
and I mean, we
and
can speak about it, but like I said, I'm seriously. I mean, we
no,
do have
there's no,
voices. Use them.
well,
I mean, I don't know if people are
but
afraid to say something when this stuff
well,
happens, but
look
they
at what
shouldn't
happened
be.
to the last time a group
Well,
tried to voice its dissenting opinion. It doesn't. This is the new America. Come on, you're not. Your dissenting voice is not welcome.
well, it used to be. I mean,
I
okay, so if you
know, but
remember when it went from, I mean, was it been 10 years ago that they raised the price up to 139 or whatever it was? Okay. And when all that happened, I think we were at 59. That's how it jumped that high. So I rallied the troops and I sent out emails to every broker that I knew, and everybody called in and complained and said something, and we got something done. So it's voices. They do hear voices.
yeah, but have you seen the ads like they're have you seen the ads on like traditional automotive media?
Hmm.
It's all about confidence and you're in control, and that's what people are believing. You know, Rage Against the Machine concerts don't dictate the price of goods. So I think the strategy is just wait for these guys to run out of gas. Who cares, right? The price isn't coming back down. Is it done? I mean, it's done, right?
Uh, yeah. I mean,
So I guess, I mean, now that you voiced that, so I guess it sounds like you recognized so stay away from the 10 packs, right?
well, I mean that's what's sad
Yeah,
because
it is sad.
there are good loads out there, and I mean, yes, you can raise your prices, but and so you can get that extra money, but it's really hard on a 10 pack. They're wanting whoever calls you with that 10 pack wants to save money because it is a 10 pack. So you're not pulling as much as you would normally do off of them. That's just a normal thing, or at least for the smaller brokers, maybe not for the bigger brokers. I don't know how they
But there's
do their fees.
and
You know
there
what
it
I
is.
mean?
Wouldn't a bigger broker love this new policy? Because now the smaller guys are pushed
We'll run them
out.
out. Yeah, it could run them out.
That's
Yeah.
the game of capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very true.
And I think that's part of the. But again, and Jay, you just talk bad about capitalism with some kind of communist.
But okay, seriously, like I said, Jay, how many percentage do you think are smaller brokers? Like 85% at least, right?
Well, now there's an interesting point. But who cares about the owner operator car hauler? Nobody really cares about the 90% of guys out there. There's no community. The only videos on YouTube are talking about get rich because that's the only way to get views.
Yeah.
There is no movement.
True.
If you're at the top, buy, sell, Shark Tank away. You're in control. And that Shark Tank away should be the new ad campaign. And we're just here, we're just this punk rock band that, they're just waiting for us to stop making albums. Hey Jay, came across you searching how to dispatch. This isn't a whole lot of information. Here it is. There isn't a whole lot of information to be found. Like I just said, I didn't even time that. It was crazy. What do you recommend? Here's a playlist to dispatch. Here you can download the spreadsheets and resources. She's like, I'll go through the videos. Thanks so much. That's awesome. And, I love that. That's so cool. Hey, Jay, here's a question. I'm going to join. Oh, I think this guy was saying he's going to sign up with Sue.
Okay.
And then I said, yeah, learn about do that. Because he's asking, what else can I do? right? What else can I do to be successful? And I said, hey, man, learn. I'm going to read it. Okay. If you're picking up a car at an auction, find out what the auctions are doing, right? Who's going there? Who's buying? Who's paying? You're at a dealer. Learn about the inventory. You know, look professional. Be
Yes.
nice. Learn
Yeah.
the language.
Yeah.
Learn, you know, why. And here's what's... I think I've been saying this for years. And yeah, there was a dude that used to walk around the garage and talk about coaching. But the point is that I don't know if anybody's... I don't know who's doing this. I don't even know if this actually works anymore.
Good point. You're right. I don't know if it works anymore. I always recommended people doing that too. Show up with a box of donuts, introduce yourself, you know, that kind of thing. But you're
Try
right.
that today. They'd be like, what are you making a TikTok?
Yeah, probably. You're probably right.
Or they'll call the police. Right? That could happen.
This guy gave me donuts.
We got a guy with donuts here. Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's happened. It's barely America. There we go. There, I said it. It's barely America. Okay, I shared this because, see, like, this almost seems like this will be, in a few years, this will be labeled as, like, YouTube comment terrorism. You won't be able to do this anymore. This is barely America. It's almost horrible to type words like this now. It'll probably become a crime.
God, I hope not.
Text crime. Your comment has been submitted to the text crime unit. It's the only thing left after Doge. Let's see here. Oh, perfect timing. Which brings us to this. This was the original show idea. CDSCLOGE. Where would Doge make big cuts in auto transport? That's actually the question. Let's say Doge came in with their chainsaw and said these parts of auto transport are pointless. What would they cut? What would Doge cut in auto transport today? Where would Doge make their biggest cuts? There's cuts to be made. Where would Doge make big cuts in auto transport today?
Huh. You got some ideas? Let's hear it.
Even if I don't have ideas, I usually come up with something.
Yeah, I was saying.
Well, there are too many brokers.
Probably.
So, I mean, Doge could come in with a chainsaw and probably cut 25% of... Let's go to the trade show. Let's get really crazy with this. By the way, I was going to say this. Canada, Used Car Week Canada is coming up. It's a trade show or whatever.
All right.
I wonder what they'll do.
I was going to say that should be interesting.
Hi, good morning to Used Car Week Canada. Thanks everybody for showing up. Go easy.
Don't buy anything.
Take
I
it
want to
easy.
ship it to you.
There's breakfast. There's a bar. We will have a networking session. Take it easy. And I love Cherokee Media Group. They're great. And Bill, if anyone can pull it off, it's Bill Zadites. He's amazing. All right. So Doge comes in, cuts auto transport. You go to the trade show.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Used Car Week, and there are like 20 auto shipping companies.
Right.
You don't need 20 in the expo. You don't need 20 in the expo hall. You certainly don't need 3,000. Now, okay, CDSCLOGE does. What is that? CDSCLOGE does not want you to cut. That's where they're making their money.
Well, right.
And this brings us into the idea of CDSCLOGE. What would happen if a quarter of the big brokers... You know how much money that would be?
That'd be a lot.
Oh, God.
That'd
So
be
we
way a
do
lot.
not want to that. But now the small that's what's interesting. That is part of the gamble. Joe said gamble earlier. How high can we raise the price on Sue before
He says
it's
enough. Yeah.
yeah, there's the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Will you start? Do you think you're going to start posting less loads? How are you going to manage? And Joe also mentioned managing debt. How are you? Because you know what your answer is the same answer as probably hundreds of people right now that don't speak English and aren't watching this show.
What do you think my answer is?
I don't know.
What do you think I told him?
Yeah. Well, okay. Assuming you told them something,
I
what
did.
was it? Yeah, what'd you say?
I said I could always go switch to Super Dispatch because it's a whole lot cheaper.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I said it before, if you don't like the price of Starbucks, don't drink it. Cool, there's Pete's Coffee. Let's get a list going. What other great coffee places are there? Pete's Coffee. I know there's like 10.
I don't know. I don't drink coffee.
There you go. Well, let's pretend you do. All right, so you're gonna go over to Pete's Coffee.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you go over to Pete's Coffee. You know I love analogies. Come on, this is what I'm good at. All right, let's say you go to Pete's Coffee. How do you think that will affect your business? Like, do you think it'll take longer to get cars moved? What do you think?
I don't think it will. In fact, this is a funny story because today I had someone ask me for a car, and somehow or another their account on Central Dispatch had gotten hacked. They could not get cars off there. They wanted me to send them one through Super Dispatch, and I said I'm not set up that way. So I don't think my problem with it is going, well, and it should, now it doesn't make any difference because one of my complaints is this. So when you go to Super Dispatch, I'm going to be re-entering every like person I've ever dealt with, you know what I mean? All my saved contacts, all my, Mannheims, all my Odessas, it would be entering in everything. But I don't know if everybody knows this, but we've been having that problem. Nothing is savable anymore on Central Dispatch. We enter in a company name, doesn't save it any longer. So it's the same concept of what I'm dealing with right now. Unless they've already been previously, saved in there, I've got to type it in every single time again. So we're already at that point in all reality, unless there's just something wrong with my account, but I doubt it.
So, what's funny is, here we'll go to analogy. You heard of CDK Global?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Have you heard of Techion?
Yes.
Okay. CDK and Techion are both CRM providers.
Okay.
Similar to CDSCLOGE and Pete's Coffee in the auto transport load board space.
Right.
Okay, so CDK sued Techion. When I was reading the lawsuit, it's almost similar. It's about data. It's about
who's better.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, these companies act like it's their data.
No. Yeah.
But it's funny because that's funny because it's really the dealer's data. But
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, true.
But I guess when your lawyers are talking, it's your data. It's your coffee. It's your family. It's your vacation. It's literally not mine anymore.
Yeah.
So, I think coming back to the CDSCLOGE was that lawsuit effective in kind of shutting doors on alleyways? Do you think that there's more concern about, like, how about the import button? Does that still work?
Yep.
Really?
I mean, as far as I know, it's right on the screen. You push it and it works. So,
still works. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're still using the import button. Wow,
yeah.
That's cool.
There is something else wrong. They've got some kind of glitch going on that the screen just sits there and flashes over and over again when you're trying to assign a load. It drives us nuts. It takes 3 or 4 minutes for it to stop doing that.
Is that on CDSCLOGE or Pete's Coffee?
Scloge.
Did you hear that Elon stepped down from Doge?
No, I didn't.
He was supposed to make it till May 30th, but you've heard about The Tesla terrorism?
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah.
can you even say that? I don't even know if you can say that. You probably got to say like T word. The Tesla T word.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Have you heard that there's some things on YouTube you can't even say now? Like they have to say unalive somebody.
Right. Yes. And you can't say the R word or the S word and stuff like that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's America. That's making America great again for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
But that's been that way. That's not anything new.
Yeah, but there's new ones though.
Oh, well, no, because I watch a few different conspiracy ones.
Like,
and
you know
they can't
what?
say a
You're
lot
not
of
going to be able
stuff.
to say T-Rans anymore.
Yeah.
That one, they're getting rid of that. That thing is going away. Yeah, if you're T-Rans, you have to, like, go back in the bunker with, like, the colonial fighters. It's crazy. And that brings us back to, I guess, wrapping up. Oh, you know what I did? This is kind of weird.
What?
So I'm coming up with CDSCLOGE. And so I said to ChatGPT, this AI is the best way to end the show today. I said, AI made this. What is CDSCLOGE? It's logistics, but make it complicated. Tell me more. What does it stand for? Comically dysfunctional, super and confusing logistics. Efficiency, we're slow, we're super bureaucratic. I love that. See, what's cool? Chat came up with using super a lot, which I thought was really cool. Would you like a company mission statement or fake CEO interview? Chat asked me that. I'm like, hell yeah. Here's your exclusive CEO interview with Chadwick D. Scloge, founder and chief delay officer. Questions? ChatGPT wrote this.
I use it all the time. It's hilarious.
It's nuts. It's like having your own sidekick. Here's the CDSCLOGE stock market analysis. Stockholder letter from Chadwick D. Scloge. It's all the customer service black hole. Which I think they have. That's literally where your emails go. It should be customer success black hole. You know, because you drink the tea with the finger. You got your annual report, the non-transparency edition. I'm telling you, you got to get on ChatGPT. You'll have the best time. Press release, international markets, reckless and revolutionary. I mean, this is crazy. If you don't know how to go to... So there is somebody right now. Hey, all right, guys, how do I go to ChatGPT?
Just chatgpt.com.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the... Go to chatgpt.com. You can type in whatever you want.
Yeah.
Chris
I told
says,
it to make an advertisement on my car and told it what kind of car it was, and they swoop, there it was.
Is that right?
Yes, it's awesome.
You can ask it anything.
Yeah. It doesn't matter anything. He's right.
And it doesn't tell you you're stupid.
Not yet. Maybe later.
Right. Oh, there's a marketing campaign, Lost in Chaos. Hashtag where is my package? The Scloge hunt. This is the best. This is crazy. That's why I screenshot. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Annual Chaos Awards. The most unpredictable delivery award. Yeah.
That's great.
It's wild. And of course, the CDSCLOGE Auto Transport Load Board. Super confusing load matching. Self-canceling load feature. That is my favorite. Self-canceling load feature.
Mysterious logistics journey.
Eric just spat his coffee all over the desk.
After all, who needs
And
service?
he can't say anything.
This is fantastic.
I think he's been duct taped to his desk. I haven't heard from him in months. Eric, I love you, buddy. I miss you. Coffee one day.
Quite know if your payment
When eggs are $100 an egg.
To inform me later, probably.
Seamless payment, cryptic
This is
payment
great.
gateway. I know, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Oh man. So get yourself some Chat GPT, ship some information, go to atiautobusiness.com. You can always send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. Okay, here's the deal. Oh, by the way, Chris says sometimes he uses the F word as a comma. I like that. That's good, Chris. I think this was a pretty great show today.
Yeah.
That was unintentional. I apologize in advance. So we're not going to do a show every week anymore.
Okay.
All right? That's the news. Just like Trump has put a tariff on our show. It's dumb. All right, so we're not going to do a live show every week anymore. Maybe every 2 weeks, every 3, something like that.
Okay.
It'll make it easier for me to work on other things, which I clearly need to do. Just like everybody else in the world. I think that we're all rejiggering, adapting, figuring, yeah.
Yeah.
Open to work. They're renaming LinkedIn, and I can't say that. They might actually.
Not.
Never mind. Open to work is trending on Twitter. There we go. Okay. So yeah, to rally against that, we have to do what we have to do. Plus, I think it'll make for, we've had many shows where we didn't really have a strategy. We pulled it off.
Right.
We're gonna stop doing that. Yeah, right. So in 2 weeks, we've got, it's a broker, an overseas broker support staff is going to join us live.
Okay.
I think. We'll see.
Okay.
I know, it should be very interesting. So bring your questions. If you got questions for, right? You call to book a load.
Right.
They're not in Florida.
Right.
That's who we're talking to.
Okay.
In 2 weeks. Should be. I'm really looking forward to it. They reached out to me. I'm really looking forward to it. So this should be a one of a kind situation. Bring your questions, bring your information, and there could be breaking news. And that's where this show was CDSCLOGE until yesterday.
Yeah.
So who knows? Keep the news coming. Send it in to me, autotransportintel@gmail.com. Sue, what's your best email address?
It's Murphy Autotransport31@yahoo.com.
Transport31@yahoo.com. All right. Send Sue an email. Send me an email. I'll type mine in here. Autotransport. At this point, I'm not even going to change it. For a while, I was going to try to make J at ATI Auto Business or whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm not even going to bother. All right. So send us emails. You can go to atiautobusiness.com and send a message that way. Otherwise, please do. Hey, don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, tell your friends. I realize that there is a first ever State of the Auto Transport Industry report, the first of its kind by the, most ingenuitive, whatever. But it is true, ATI Auto Business remains the only consistent auto transport news and opinion source, and we'll see how long we can keep it that way. There could be another tariff. We're only one tariff away. All right. What do we say, office?
Goodbye, Sue.
Goodbye, Sue. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right. See ya.
All right, see ya. Bye.